Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that intro gets me gassed up every single time, but welcome to episode 2 of Pop Shots. I am James. I am so happy to be joining you guys here again today. Obviously, it's my show. I should be here. That's how that works. But we have an awesome week 1 of football. It's finally here. I'm going to touch on I'm currently ass deep. Preface this as I am currently ass deep in multitasking right now. I've got the Liverpool game on as we speak. I am going to be going over some fantasy football stuff. I'm going to be touching on the Italian Grand Prix that happened today and a little bit of college football because I think we got to talk about Texas before we do anything else. So first things first, let's talk about F1 because that's what is currently locked into my mind because that was such an amazing race. I didn't realize the Italian Grand Prix was that difficult, but we end up losing the 2 front runners in Verstappen and Hamilton, my guy, like 3/4 of the way through the race in a awful crash. Hamilton said his neck hurt. It looked like the tire went on top of him. That's going to be a whole nother thing. I think it was a racing incident. I don't think there was anyone to blame. I know Verstappen was already driving angry after that right tire flip that seemingly took forever. I mean, he was saying at one point, don't talk to me. Like through the radio, you can hear it. For those of you who aren't fans of F1, you should be. Also, this is the excitement that comes with it. He took an 11-second pit stop, and after his crew chief was trying to tell him stuff, and he said, I'm going radio silent. Don't talk to me unless it's crucial, which shortly thereafter he crashed. But that's not something you want to hear from your star driver, first. Second, I can understand his frustration because this is an elite team. There's the 3 upper echelon teams in F1, and it's Mercedes, it is Red Bull, and it is Ferrari, and none of them should have those kind of problems. That's like a very Williams problem, like towards the bottom. And Verstappen has dealt with an 11-second pit stop, came out, and almost drove over effectively did drive over the top of Lewis Hamilton. It was odd to see. And we got our first comment. Oh! Zach breaking down the tape. What would blocked? Get your bullshit bridge. Fuck you, Golden Gate Bridge. George. Oh wait, no. Fuck you. That bridge sucks. Okay. Quick side story. We're already going to go off on the ADHD tangents. We're going to I'm going to find some way to transition this off of F1 and into bridges. But the George Washington, when I was coming back from South Carolina visiting my girlfriend's parents, I got stopped and it wouldn't take my money. And this lady just turned to me and was like, why are you stopped? And I was like, you won't take my money, and drive. And I was like, all right, bet. See you later. Fuck the George Washington. I do actually like the Tappan Zee Bridge. It is pretty cool. I'm not going to lie to you. Whatever it's called now, it's not the Tappan Zee. So transition that. Let's talk about college football. Smooth transitions, right? So 2 weeks ago, I talked about it on Sports Me. I've talked about it on Instagram. Texas looked really good. They look like we could finally be getting this Texas is back Texas. And then they go out and play Arkansas, and it'll always be the Tappan Zee. They go out and play Arkansas, an SEC team where they're more likely not going to be playing in the West, and they get shellacked. They forgot how to tackle, which was an issue last year. They all over the ball did not look good. In every aspect of the game, they didn't look good. I don't know what was happening with that. I don't know if something happened in practice. Arkansas, who's not an upper echelon team, I know I'm going to keep talking about this in these echelons and whatever, didn't look great. Arkansas looked great, and they're not great. They are Arkansas. They're a team that you just kind of write off on your schedule as an easy win, even with Felipe Franks last year. Texas, not back. They're still good. Don't overreact to it. Zach is saying the worst decision Texas could have ever made was trying to play in the SEC. Yes, it's better for their own branding, I guess. I've been trying to justify this. It makes sense for Oklahoma, who's always been kind of that, Oklahoma doesn't play anybody because they play Texas. I think Texas was just kind of if Oklahoma's going, we're going too. And Jimmy Pibbles their hat and moved on. I don't quite understand it. I think they should have stayed in the Big 12. They would have been the top team in the Big 12, fighting with probably Oklahoma State and Iowa State, I guess. But doesn't make sense to me. I like what the Big 12 is doing for these smaller schools, but we'll see how that plays out. As far as other college football games, I was watching I was like trying to simulcast watching the Gamecocks almost lose against Eastern Carolina, which was miserable. We had a guy who sounds like a fucking gas station attendant in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, South Carolina. Zeb Nolan as our quarterback, a graduate transfer. East Carolina looked like a real team for the first half, and then it just kind of came down to who made the last mistake. And thankfully, it wasn't the Gamecock. So we are now 2-0. Shout out us. But while that game was going on, Ohio State and Oregon played, and Oregon actually walked out with the upset. I did not think they would be able to contain Wilson and Olave. They did it almost effectively. But really, the bigger story out of the whole thing was Oregon's running back, who I'm trying to bring up his name real quick because I can't remember off the top of my head. Hold on. CJ Verdell, who at one point had 10 carries, 126 yards, and 2 trips to the house. Zach, I appreciate you for even stopping in. Go Jets. I'm rooting for y'all today, but I'm really not. I'm rooting for the Sam Darnold revenge game, but I love you. CJ Verdell got it done in receiving, got it done rushing. He was a big part of why Oregon was able to have success, and Oregon pulled it off. I did not think that was possible. I think the Pac-12, and might become like a Texas's back statement, I think the Pac-12 might be a lot better than we're giving them credit for. We've seen UCLA look good. USC looks good. Oregon looks good. We might be having some real competition in the Pac-12 for a first time in a long time because they're putting up against these teams. I'm not ready to like blow up the ship on Ohio State. Stroud worries me. He's still young, obviously, but he's not what you want as an Ohio State quarterback. And I don't think you can win a playoff game with him this year. They still have the talent, but they need to capitalize on having Olave and Wilson and make something happen. Stroud looked bad. He looked awful, especially with that last pass, I think, throwing it right into the defensive back's hands. Water break. Oh my God, you guys don't realize how fucking thirsty I was during the whole thing trying to fight through. So, I'm talking about that. I didn't, unfortunately, get to watch Iowa State enough, but I heard that was a battle that was really fun. Good for Iowa, I think. I don't actually remember. This is going to be live, and I love that for me. One more thing we're going to talk about college football before we get into true NFL pro-level football. Oklahoma is a top 3 team. And yes, I know they played Western Carolina, but we saw Spencer Rattler look comfortable once again against Western Carolina. He looked comfortable. He looked good. He was slinging the ball. They showed why on all facets they are a top 3 team. So be very worried about Oklahoma. Still realize that they're not good in the playoffs. So realize it, appreciate it, understand that Oklahoma is here and could be good. But let's realize their previous playoff record before we go any further. So let's talk about this. Currently, as I'm recording right now, I missed this while prepping for the show, but Liverpool is up 1-0. Love that for me. They look good. Leeds United's defense looks like shit, but that's not really anything new. I've been a bad Liverpool fan. I'm trying to get deeper into it this year. I had a hard time last year balancing a work schedule and all that, but there's no excuses. I'm back. I'm here. Liverpool, baby. This is a big sports day for James. Browns are on. Oh my God. Liverpool's playing F1 race, baby. Woo. College football slate yesterday. All right. So focus in. We'll talk about it since we're already on it. Browns, Chiefs, the implications from this game. This is a rematch of the AFC play. The whatever round last year they played in. Obviously disappointing for the Browns. They're going to be playing with a chip on their shoulder. The biggest issue was the defense. And right now we're looking at them with a fixed quote unquote defense. Obviously getting JOK, obviously getting Greg Newsome. Marvin Wilson didn't end up working out, which is, sad for me. But all of that considered, the Browns have a young defense who is ready to play, and they're going to be tested early today against Patrick Mahomes. So I'm not going to go into deep evaluations of all these games. That's why I want you all to That's why I want you all to tune into Garbage Time. Zach and Chris did an awesome job this week. I think Drew was there as well. Sorry, Drew, but they did an awesome job this week going through the calls. We have that live on YouTube right now. That should be out hopefully soon. But I'm just going to give you my fantasy advice for this, looking at this, because my whole thing this week, there are 2 games I'm looking at that are just sexy fantasy games. And on top of that, I'm looking at some like sexy stacks, some quarterback, wide receiver, or even a little running back stacks. So I want you all to be ready for this because there are a couple games I think you should be investing in, especially with the window looking at like 50 minutes away. If you're watching this on YouTube later, you should have paid attention to the Instagram page because I've definitely pointed this out before. All right. OBJ, sleeper in the Kansas City game. I know he's doubtful with the knee. I'm not worried about it. I know Tyrann Mathieu's back. He's still not playing at 100%, even with the COVID symptoms. I know he's cleared, but they're going to be monitoring that. I would still play OBJ this week. So also deep play too, not as deep. If you have Kareem Hunt, I would run Kareem Hunt this week. I know last year the Chiefs had a problem stopping pass catching backs, especially Kareem Hunt. I don't think there's as much of that like revenge game thing to it. I would buy in on Kareem Hunt this week and have him play, especially in daily fantasy. So scrolling through, first notable sexy fantasy game for me, because the defenses are just awful. The Jaguars and Texans. AFC South matchup. Trevor Lawrence versus Tyrod Taylor. Get excited. I'm kind of avoiding the Texans on all fronts. Maybe some Nico Collins, but overall, Nico Collins is kind of a long-term thing, especially in Dynasty. I love Nico, assuming that we get Deshaun Watson, or they get Deshaun Watson back maybe at some point, but I doubt it. Or at least I get a quarterback back. I like Tyrod, but let's be real about it. But on the other side of the ball, Trevor Lawrence, love it. My stack with him that I've been running in a lot of leagues this week, as I don't really have a lot of Trevor Lawrence. I have, I think, maybe one league with Trevor Lawrence, but Laviska Shenault. I think Laviska playing that second. I'm getting a lot of flack from the South Carolina girlfriend right now for saying that I have shares of Trevor Lawrence. So I'm going to have to be hearing about that later. But Laviska Shenault will be a phenomenal play this year. I think DJ Chark isn't as good as we hype him up to be. I think Laviska is that dude that DJ Chark wants to be. So if I'm looking at this game, I'm looking at Laviska. Obviously, James Robinson. That's not a question. I'm looking at stacking Laviska, or even if you really want to do it, go stack Chark too, but get Trevor Lawrence in this game because the Texans just lost their cornerback one. They have a beat-up defense. We don't really know what's going on with their defense. So buy into that. Stacked right below that. I'm actually going to skip the next sexy game first before I get into that next sexy stack. We're going to talk about a big avoid for me this week. I'm looking at the Chargers versus Washington, the football team. Washington has a top 3 defense. Washington has a elite defense. I love Justin Herbert. He's able to get it done against a lot of teams last year. I don't know if I'm super confident playing him this week. I'm going to sit him in any leagues I have him, especially with the pass rush, especially with how the linebackers perform. Every facet of how the Washington defense performs is great. I am nervous about that off the gun. I think people are going to overreact to it, but if you have the Washington defense, I just butchered that, play them this week. Highly encouraged. Steelers, Bills, I'm playing Najee Harris all day in this matchup. If you don't have him, you should have got him. Najee Harris is going to feed in this. I'm expecting the Bills secondary to be locking down, but I think Najee can take advantage of those short check down passes. I actually forgot there might be a third secret sexy fantasy game for you. And another secret sexy stack. Look at me go, dude. We're doing this great. I love you. You love me. We love each other. Let's go. Vikings. No, wrong game. Niners, Lions. Play as much of the 49ers as you can. Right now, I'm running a stack with Deebo Samuel. South Carolina. Don't want to hear any heat right now. South Carolina product and Jimmy Garoppolo. I have some Raheem Mostert. I'm running him as well. Trey Sermon was just announced that he is an inactive play for today. So I'm going to be, ideally, they're going to be feeding Raheem Mostert. I'm going to be playing him in every option I can. The Lions defense is good. They're not great. So I will take Deebo through the middle. Brandon Ayuk, obviously, I'm going to play on most situations. He's been arguably like a low-end wide receiver 1 in my mind. I'm going to be playing him. I'm going to be playing Deebo. Obviously, you got to play George Kittle if you have him. That's just not even a question. Also, on the other side of that ball, I'm big on Amon-Ra. I think he could feed this week. Hawkinson, if you got him. That's another no question play TJ Hawkinson. I do think the Niners walk out with a heavy offensive game off of this. DeAndre Swift on the other side of the ball scares me, though. So play all your Niners. Be careful with the Lions backfield. Swipe on, move along. Jets-Panthers, Sam Darnold revenge game. It's here. They scheduled for week 1. Breaking down the tape. Shout out those guys. They're fucking beautiful. Zach was already in here. But here's the thing they talked about, right? Is the NFL is so fucking good at scheduling these like storyline games. Especially like we already talked about the Browns-Chiefs week 1, right? Like I keep saying championship. That was my championship in my mind, is we could beat the Chiefs. But we're talking about, playoff rematch with the Browns-Chiefs week 1. And now we're getting a Sam Darnold revenge game. So with that, Jets scare me. Trust in some Zach Wilson. Don't go crazy because the Panthers secondary is very good. But on the other side of that, the Panthers, I'm playing Christian McCaffrey. Duh. That's not a shock. I'm playing a stack of Terrence Marshall and Sam Darnold. If you have Robbie Anderson, run him too. The matchups favor what the Panthers are doing. The Panthers should offensively control this game. I hope. Everyone hopes. Unless you're a Jets fan, I'm sorry. If Joe, if you're listening to this, turn up the Jets. Sorry. Browns, Chiefs, that. Dolphins, Patriots. Oh, Hector's in the house. Speaking of breaking down the tape, just shouted you guys out. Patriots, I saw someone playing Najee Harris. I already talked about this on the Instagram story. Damien Harris. That scares the hell out of me. The Patriots backfield is always a big question mark. You never know who they're going to run. One week they could run Ramondre Stevenson. One week they could run Damien Harris. One week they could run fucking... Damn! All right. Bet. Oh, that's why. He said fuck off and then followed up with Jets going to win. Hector, I'm sorry. I'm talking to you right now. I'm talking to you. I'm sorry. Hector. They're not going to win. I'll put money down on that. Hector, I will right now. No consequence to you. If the Jets win this game today, I'll Venmo you $10. All right? No, flat money line. Jets win, $10 goes to you. I will virtually shake on that right here. I appreciate the fuck out of you. So the Patriots backfield always scares me. Damien Harris should be the guy this week. Well, you never really know. I have such a hard time giving advice when the Patriots are playing because you don't know how they run that offense. It's so sporadic. It's so weird. It's so crazy. Giants and Broncos could be another big game. I'm playing Cortland Sutton as much as I can. Obviously, I'm paying Saquon. This is his first week back. Since I don't fucking know how long. I also didn't even talk about the winner of the F1 race. Dude, my ADHD is fucking firing right now. We are living, baby. Okay. Saquon's going to be back. Play the fuck out of him. You should have bought him earlier in the year. I tried telling you that. Don't even question it. Liverpool is currently 1-0.5, so I can turn that off. I'm a little bit more focused on you guys now. Hector is taking that deal. I will be in the DMs later, baby. Packers Saints. Now, here's something I want to talk about because I'm very excited about Jameis Winston as a quarterback. But on top of that, yes, Hector, he is going to go off. He's been out since week 4 last year. Yes, sick one. Marquez Callaway, who's everyone's been hyping up. His ADP rose like a fucking rocket. I feel like I'm coked out right now, and I am very sober. Marquez Callaway is most likely going to be covered by Jair Alexander all day. I am avoiding him at all costs. I am trusting this Packers secondary. Alvin Kamara is the only thing I could recommend on the Saints side. Maybe Jameis Winston to see what happens. But I think this is going to be one of those games where you lose faith in Jameis because just 3 interceptions, maybe. I'm going to call that. Bears, Rams, that should actually be fun. I already talked about this earlier. Give me Mooney. Trusting King. I don't trust King after last year. He's not a bad defensive back. He did single-handedly lose them that game. That and for some reason going for that weird field goal, but he got blown in coverage a lot. Pause. He got blown up in coverage a lot. I don't trust Kevin King. I don't trust Kevin King a lot, but I do trust Jair Alexander, and I got to assume that's the matchup we're looking at. If Adam Trotman was in, it might be a different story. I could trust some Adam Trotman. But I don't have anything going on in this one right now. Bears, Rams, give me Darnell Mooney all day. On the same note as Marquez Callaway being covered by Jair Alexander, dude, look at this little fucking hair bobble. Same note as that. I'm assuming A-Rob and Ramsey are going to be locked up all day. Give me some Cole Kmet. Give me some Darnell Mooney. Give me all the David Montgomery in the world. Feed me that. Ravens, Raiders, buy into every Raven, buy into Lamar Jackson. But we're going back to my fantasy game. Wait. I don't know what I'm hitting. I'm just so fucking hyped. I swear to God, on this live stream right now, I am sober. I'm just very energetic. I'm very happy football's back. I'm very happy to be talking to you guys. I'm very happy the creepy doll is in here too. That was very weird last week. Water break! Oh, wait. Hold on. Triple H. Woo! Okay. Eagles, Falcons. That went down the wrong pipe. Rams defense all day as well. I agree, Hector. But he also said Stafford is a potential MVP. Highly agree with that, too. Stafford has every weapon in front of him this year to be that dude, minus Cam Akers. But he has the line. He has the receivers. He has Higbee at tight end. He has the weapons. Stafford should be in the MVP conversation. I think this is going to be a big step forward in that direction. But I also like some of the Bears' offensive weapons that kind of fell a little bit later in the draft. So we're talking about my favorite fantasy matchup this week. I played players on both sides of this. I've hyped up players on both sides of this. Eagles, Falcons. Both defenses, average. To be fair, the Eagles secondary is better than we give it credit for, but still average. I am playing every stack I got of Devonta Smith and Jalen Hurts. This is going to be a big game for Jalen. I have a true feeling in my gut about that. Atlanta's secondary is near the bottom of the league, if not at the bottom of the league. I think they're ranked last by PFF. I do not expect that to change. I don't think anything changed for them. Devonta Smith is a game changer. He does have that ability to route run and cut away from any defender. Jalen Hurts is going to have a field day moving around. He's basically a better passing Lamar Jackson, which is a scary thing to say, a little bit slower, but he's part of that new breed. He said he thought about starting Smith in Hooves League. It all depends on who you have around him. I am doing it in a bunch of leagues. I will say that. I have a triple stack in one league. What the fuck's wrong with my finger? ADHD. I have a triple stack in one league. I'm also playing Miles Sanders because I think with Jalen Hurts being able to play like that, they can open up the option. They can open up passing to the short on the out. They got fucking Devonta Smith. I'm playing every Eagles player I got right here. But on that same note, we're already talking about Calvin Ridley being this dude with Julio out. Get him and Matt Ryan going. That's a great fantasy stack right now. That in daily, I think they're going pretty cheap. Calvin might not be as much, but I know Matt Ryan's going a little bit lower. On top of that, if you want to go a little bit cheaper, maybe get a deep sleeper. I've been big on Russell Gage. He had a big weeks 1, 2, and 3 last year. He kind of petered out a little bit. I expect him to be, as the wide receiver too, a feasting wide receiver in this offense. Obviously, Kyle Pitts is going to get some receptions out of that. He's going to take some of those away, but still look Russell Gage's way. I think he could be a really fucking good flex option for you all this week. Eagle side, we got Sanders. I already said Hurts. With Jones gone, he'll get more respect. I completely agree. I think a lot of people let him go undrafted, but I'm overly confident that he will end up being a waiver wire stud this year. What is that? Hold on. From the other side of this, my lovely girlfriend Megan brings in Zevia 0 calorie energy as she's been fucking laughing at me for yelling at this fucking live stream like a psychopath. Yeah, that's what I need is more amp up. So as we wrap up the show, because I try to make this quick, pop shots, that's what it's about. It's quick, boom, boom, talk, hi, you, me, you, hi. See, I don't fucking need this. It's all here. Browns, Chiefs, I'm going to talk about it a little bit more. I'm overly confident in my Browns. I'm forever confident in them. But this is a young defense that corrected a lot of issues. Shout out to Andrew Berry for fixing a lot of our gaps. On that note, we still have a lot to do. And this is a young defense going against the best quarterback of a generation. Obviously, you can still consider Tom Brady in that generation. But what I'm talking about is like this next generation of quarterback is headlined by Patrick Mahomes. Hector, you beat me to the fucking point. Love you, my dude. It'll be a shootout today. I 100% agree. I think Baker and Mahomes are going to be going shot per shot, and it's going to come down to who makes the first defensive stop, which I'm hoping is the Browns. Obviously, I've talked about this. I've joked around on it. I think the Robson podcast called me out. It was like, it's not going to be a good game. And I was like, we kind of said that about the playoff game, and look what happened. It ended up being a phenomenal game. I want the Browns to win? No, fuck that. Browns winning. We're going to win by 2 touchdowns. 14 points. Browns. Lock it. You like that, Megan? Hell yeah. We love that here. We're all in on it. Baker Mayfield, MVP season. Fuck Matt Stafford. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, I know the Chiefs have an elite offense. Don't kill my vibe, Hector. All right, boys. Hey, I want to say thank you all for joining me for an episode of Pop Shot. I feel like there should be Pop Shots. Megan Wilson. Hey, thank you for hopping in the stream. Thank you for Thank you for joining me for another episode of Pop Shots. I love you all. I appreciate the fuck out of you all for even supporting us in any way you can. You know where to find us: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Boda Sports, YouTube Boda Sports. You can find me at James from Boda on Twitch if you're already there. Love you. Enjoy week 1 of football. It's a glorious time to be alive. Be proud that you're a fucking American. Love the person next to you. Thank you to everyone who served. Hector, fucking especially you. Love you, ass. Thank y'all for joining. See you next time. Oh, also, we do the after last time with the fucking creepy doll thing. MVP this week. Fan MVP this week. It's going to breaking down the tape. Zach was in at the beginning, cleaned up. A closer with Hector. Love that for me. Love that for you. Love that for us. Fam. See you next time.